Welcome to Toffee TV, joined by Dave Feely to discuss the Marcel Brands, Marco Silva press conference. Dave, the appointments are in place now. We've seen them for the first time yesterday. What do you make of the appointments?
The positive, the whether irrespective of your views upon was it the right manager or not. Now that the decision's been made, the two of them together, both individually and in unison, look like they mean business. They look like they've thought about what the problems were that got them here in the first place and have come up with a plan to solve those problems. Well, as a day one, first week kind of remit, that's exactly what we were looking for.
What have you made of the changes off the pitch anyway? I know, obviously, we're fans, so we just, we go with it. But what have you made with, new chief executive, new finance director and things like that? Now we've got a director of football. Now we've got a new head coach. What have you made? Are you feeling more positive that the club have made these changes?
Yes, because there were patently glaring mistakes what were made previously. So I went on your show 3 or 4 times and highlighted those specific issues. So now they've identified them and haven't just identified and thereby, by definition, admitted that we were right in drawing attention to it. They've actually done something about it. So again, without just playing a game of football, this is as positive as it could possibly be. We haven't signed anyone, we haven't kicked the ball, so we haven't got into the winning or losing the points. So I'll take that on board. However, from the point where we are now in early June, yes, they are doing everything ostensibly on the face of it that we had highlighted last time. So then somebody's listened, somebody's recognised that we had an issue, our arguments had veracity in the first place, and now they're looking to deal with it. So that's kind of positive, brother.
Moving forward, what are your thoughts on Marco Silva? Listen, we know his time in England's been a mixed bag. Yeah. Very successful in Europe. Yeah. What are your thoughts on him? He's a young coach. He's 41 in July. So what are your thoughts about him?
My thoughts are that I didn't see the list they were choosing from. So obviously I'm not privy to that. However, I would suggest that he's already got Premier League experience, albeit at 2 clubs where he wasn't there for that long. However, what you just said then, he's 41, not quite 41 yet. He's already won a trophy in a different league, has got experience in 2 different leagues, and has been in this league already with 2 different teams. So I'm saying, as a 41-year-old manager, if he's learning the lessons he should be, like what an apprentice would be, going through his time, well then you'd look to say that those mistakes, those things what cost him last time will be the first things he looks at this time, and we would look to move forward. The appointments of Marcel Brands actually gives me more optimism for the whole thing, because he's kind of behind him with the wisdom. Don't do that, do that, swerve him, sign him, like that. Well then, our previous 2 appointments as manager, that's where I think they were lacking. They didn't have that. If Roberto Martinez had had a Howard Kendall figure over his shoulder, or Koeman for that matter, I believe that they would have dealt with the crowd completely different. They would have dealt with the picking of the team and the methodology completely different, because they're not seeing what these need. And I think Marcel Brands strikes me, I don't know the fella, I've never met him before, but he strikes me as a fella who switched onto that side, and that side proper needed addressing as far as I'm concerned.
Just finally, what do you think? What areas do you think you're looking? What's a key area you think we'd be looking to strengthen in this summer?
Central midfield to start. Central midfield, a second striker, some kind of full-back cover, centre-half cover. I'm basically going through the team, but immediately, if you're asking me what to do first, central midfield. We've got to stop teams running over the top of us, where in 20 minutes we're out of a game we haven't even got into yet. Yeah. That's got to go. Because then, the thing about this league is, you find after Christmas going into Easter, the January, February, it starts splitting into a group at the bottom, a group at the top, and everybody else in the middle. Well, the everybody else in the middle are the people who don't lose games at the start of the season. They draw loads of them, they don't win loads of them, but they're not getting beat. And in this league, that's the first port of call. You have to get from this bottom group into the middle group, and with your aspirations and planning and stuff, then you look to move on. We've got to go from here, because The problem with Marco Silva, his biggest issue is if he come here now, buy more players and he loses 3 of the first 5 games of the season, that's going to then become a problem what's not actually to do with his initial tenure. Do you see what I mean? Because there's no honeymoon period. So if we avoid that scenario and just become a team who doesn't get beat that often and look to defend as a unit, tuck in if they're coming down the side, not like last year where they were just, it was like firefighting. We both know what we're talking about. Remove that, first of all. Get to Christmas, get to Easter and see where we are. If he does that, I'd say he's got a chance of doing 3 to 5 years at Everton, because that'll give you the fact, and plus the goodwill, the bank of goodwill from the Evertonians. You'll be able to draw on that and then look to get positive as we go through. If you don't and you go the other way, and by November the 5th we're in the bottom 3 and we've got 2 wins or 3 wins, well, I think he might struggle, to be honest with you.
There you go. Thanks very much, Dave, for your thoughts. If you haven't subscribed, give us a subscribe. Takes a few seconds. See you next time on Toffee TV.
Peace out.
Welcome to Toffee TV. I'm joined by Keith Mullen to discuss the appointments of Marco Silva. Keith, what have you made of the appointments of obviously Marcel Brands and Marco Silva?
To be perfectly honest with you, Barry, I've pretty much the same as a lot of Evertonians at the moment. I don't really know a lot about Silva prior to coming to the Premier League, so I'm only sort of really going on about what based on what I've seen, which is, you know, he's been at a couple of teams and he jumps ship quite easily and things like that.
It was for Everton, though. That's what he wanted.
I have to counter that with the fact that it was for Everton and stuff like that. And he's a young manager. Seems very ambitious. He's got a particular brand of football and style of play, which I think is what we want to see as Evertonians, which is attractive football. How far you can push that and take that, I think the jury's out, but it's certainly better than what we've been subject to, I think, for the last 2 seasons. Definitely. I didn't particularly like the brand of football that Koeman was pushing out either. And, you know, Allardyce was what, you know, he was just coming in to do a job. And he was never, ever the future for this club. So I'm happy, really. I'm just a case, it's just, for me, it's just a case of, well, let's see what happens. It can't be really any worse than what we've had. God forbid. I mean, if it is, well, then we are in trouble. There seems to be, I don't know, I'm seeing a little bit more interested at the moment in the goings on in the backroom staff here at Goodison. There's a hell of a lot going on there, you know, this season. There's a lot of changes, and again, that can be a good thing. So it seems to me like that thing we were talking about a couple of months ago on Toffee TV, where there needs to be some form of restructure. And as Dave was sort of saying, who signed off on this at the beginning of the season, I think that it looked to me like those issues are being dealt with in an Everton way, where you find out on the day when all of these things are going on and happening, and there's rumours abound about several different aliens landing on the pitch and various other things in advance of it. The Marcel Brands thing, he seems to have a good pedigree, you know. He seems to really know how to play football. And from what I'm hearing, from what I gather, he's a lot more hands-on than the other fella, you know. He wasn't really a director of football. He was a really, really good scout, you know. So if they can work together as a team, who knows, you know, there seems to be a lot of... it could be really, really great, you know.
Saved me about 4 questions there, Keith. It was the longest answer ever, but it was great. And just very quickly, looks like Wayne Rooney is leaving Everton Football Club now. That's what it looks like anyway. The right decision for all parties, or would you rather Wayne stayed?
Well, you know, obviously, I was happy just to, like every other Evertonian, when Wayne came back. You know, I thought, great. If I'm going to be really, really honest, I never ever thought we would be hanging our entire season on him. Yeah. I never ever thought that when Wayne was coming back, I thought, oh, brilliant, you know, it's a great time, Wayne's coming back. But I never thought he was going to be playing every game, because it's whether or not he's physically capable of doing that. Yeah. He's not the player he was 5 years ago. And so I think he's had an all right season. He's done okay. If he stays or if he goes... I'm indifferent, to be perfectly honest with you, and I just think if he did stay, I wouldn't want the same situation where you're hanging all your hopes on that one player who's, you know, at the twilight zone of his sort of career. You know, it's at the end of his career. Should I say the sunset? It's sunset, not the twilight zone. Yeah. That was that strange thing with the music where
that was a different thing. Yeah.
Where shit used to go on and that. Yeah, so I'm just having that type of day. So yes, he's in the you know, the sun is setting on his career, I suppose. So if he goes over there, I mean, I'm fine with it. Not bothered at all now, because I think, you know, you want the next Wayne Rooney, don't you? You know, and you know what? If he comes back one day as a coach, brilliant, because I think he'd make a brilliant coach. I think he's still obviously still got the passion for it. He obviously still loves football. But one thing was always in my mind, you know, Man United don't necessarily let great players go in their prime, obviously, unless you're Ronaldo. But they sort of try to avoid that, you know, and so I think they were like, yeah, well, he's at that end part of his career, so he's come back here, and the fairy tale never happened. No. You know, if anything, the nightmare occurred, you know. And I think he's had a good season. I think he played some, you know, some great football, especially when he was playing the deeper role. There was, you know, I watched some, you know, decent football when he was playing that role. But you know, with him going, I'm not really that bothered, to be honest with you.
There you go. What more can you say, Keith? Nothing. No. Really. All right, let's leave it.
I'm done. I'm just watching a drone go past the window.
Yeah.
Every second, so that's why I'm distracted.
It is a little bit unsettling, but interesting as well. Thanks for watching Toffee TV. Yeah.